Okay, hello, welcome to my channel. We have an emergency review today. Shout out to an OG Samantha Ravendell video, but anyway, it's kind of is an emergency review in a way. I made a decision to buy the new Blend Bunny Dollhouse palette, and in that order, I also bought the Blend Bunny Surge palette. And this is why, friends, that I don't need any more eyeshadow for a while. Anyway, I'm so excited to get this on my eyes. I ordered this on January 2nd, which I believe is when the Dollhouse palette launched, and it came yesterday, which was January 12th. 10 days is almost unheard of, especially to ship from the States to Canada, especially because on the website it was like international orders can take 1 to 3 months to ship. And I was like, all right, well, let me sit back and forget about this package for a while. And lo and behold, it has arrived. I am so excited to try this palette. You don't even know. Well, I'm sure you probably do know a little bit, but it feels almost surreal. Also, I'm sorry they've suddenly decided to start construction in the middle of January on my street, so that's fun and loud. What was I saying? It feels surreal to have this palette because I've seen so many people love it and hype it up so much. It's like one of those things that you see on the internet. I think Laura May Beauty has talked about this before. You like see it on the internet and then it feels like surreal to be able to like buy it and have it in your hands. But oh yeah, by the way, I'm in my pajamas, okay? Because our furnace, I think, something's wrong with it and I have to get someone to come fix it. But I haven't done that yet, so it's cold in here. So I'm wearing my warm pajamas and we're just gonna have to accept it. But I did straighten my hair for this intro, so that's something I did at least. So I'm gonna roll my sleeves up and get to live swatching. Okay, so it's definitely arranged like there's like a row. Let me just show you you've seen this, but I'm gonna go over it for my own self. So there's a row of like almost like pastel-y shades. We have like this mid-toned row, this beautiful, deep, colorful row, a row of shimmers, and a row of neons. I've never tried neon shades before ever, so I'm very excited. And look at this row of dark mattes. I feel like Blend Bunny just makes palettes for me because they have so many dark mattes in their palettes, and I'm like, I see you, Blend Bunny, and I'm coming for you. So let's just give a little swatch of this palette. So we have a matte white. First off, it's called the shade White Hot. Just a matte white. We have the shade Cutout, which is like a matte peach. Feel very soft in the pan. The shade Cheeks is a light matte pink. The shade Beckon is a beautiful light lavender lilac shade. The shade Chills is like a light dusty matte blue. A very unique shade. Then the shade Hint is a light, almost like pastel-y mossy green. I love the tones in this palette. They're because it definitely feels like a rainbow palette, but a little bit different in terms of tone. The next row we have the shade Locked, which is a matte mossy green. Oh, that is so beautiful. The shade Juicy is a matte orange. Nice swatch. The shade Maybe is a hot pink, which you know I love. Like more of like a raspberry hot pink, I want to say. The shade Stay is a mid-toned purple. The shade Rush is a darker, like grayed out blue. So unique. And then the shade Alive is a brighter matte green. So those are the first two rows, and I think I can fit the middle row in here on this arm. So the shade Vinyl is a matte black. The shade Grunge is a dark, warm-toned brown. Almost has like a plumminess to it. So pretty. The shade Taboo is a dark cranberry matte. I can see myself reaching for this literally all of the time. The shade Covet is a dark purple. Ooh, yes, please. The shade Linger looks very black in the pan, but it's like a dark, dark navy. And the shade Lush is a dark green. Almost has like a grayness to it. And so those are the first three rows of the palette. I love the tones in here. I think they're so, so unique, and I love the range of depth. On this next arm, I'm going to swatch the next two, or the last two rows, I guess. So this next row is a row of shimmers, and it looks beautiful, especially this shade. This is the shade Flash. I swatched like maybe one or two yesterday, and they look so sparkly. This shade is so pretty. It's like a champagne pink. I can never get this right. But look at that. That's my post-swatch finger. Oh, lordy. I did a nice big swatch of that on my hand. So shiny. So pretty. The shade Zip It Up is a orangey gold. Look at that. Oh my god. The shade All Mine is a metallic pink, which doesn't look as shiny. Definitely a different formula. It seems like red toned things like purples, reds, and more reds and pinks though appear, based on my extensive swatching experience and makeup using experience. It must be something that they're like difficult to formulate or difficult to make like shimmery, because I feel like getting a really shimmery pink or red is hard to find. The shade Euphoric is a purpley blue like periwinkle shade. It looks like it has a blue base with a purple shine. That is gorgeous. The shade Underneath is a beautiful like tealy blue, like aquamarine kind of shade. And then the shade Limitless is a beautiful metallic green. What am I gonna use? Oh my god, there's so many options. And then the last row is the row of neons, which I'm very excited. I don't even think I've swatched neon shadows before. So the first shade is the shade Shocked, which is a bright yellow neon. I'm not sure. He's probably... I feel like I'm kind of like fielding my expectations for these. The shade Power is a bright orange. That's so crazy. The shade Charged is a neon pink. Whoa, I wonder how these are gonna look on camera. The shade Pulse is a neon purple. The shade Energy is a neon blue. And the shade Chemistry is a neon green. Oh, wow, okay. It doesn't look as pigmented. And that is the row of metallics and the row of neons. That's crazy. So I'm going to now zoom in. Well, actually first let's do some up close swatches, as I love to do, inspired by Lauren Made Beauty here on YouTube, and some like, you know, arm swatches and stuff, and then let's do a look together while I figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do. do blue and green, okay? Because I don't normally do that. So I'm going to start with the shade Chemistry, this really bright green neon down here. Now, I know that neon shades aren't supposed to like blend well in the crease, but I'm just experimenting today. You know, we're just going to see how it works and then kind of go from there. On my eyes, I have primed using the NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base, and I have not set my lids, but they're not like really that tacky. It's not like a sticky primer, but I haven't put powder on them. And let's just, oh my god, let's just go into the shade. Whoa, I don't think I've ever used a shade so bright on my eyes ever in my life. And honestly, for the first little swipe, I don't know if the camera can see it, but I can see it, and it looks like quite good. I'm not gonna lie. Can I zoom in? Look at, I don't know if you can be able, but it looks good. Everyone's like, oh, you can't blend neons out, and maybe that's true. But I don't know. I feel like you can use the, okay, I'm making a blanket statement, but I feel like you can use these neons in that way. Or at least this green you can. I really hope I don't have a work call today. Friends, look at how that built up. Look at how that built up. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. So now, what am I gonna do? Now I'm going to take the shade Rush, which is this beautiful grayed out blue. I love that they chose like these tones of blue instead of like bright blues. And I'm going to just run this through my crease. I'm going to do a half cut crease today because I feel like it. And it's my favorite eye shape. I want to like avoid being like, oh my god, these are amazing right away, because that feels overly dramatic, and I've only used like 2 shades, but they are impressing me so far. And I did go into this with very high expectations for obvious reasons, because I've literally never heard anyone say anything negative about these shadows. I was gonna do green, but I kind of just want to use this really dark navy called Linger. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna use this to darken my crease in my outer corner. And this, friends, is why I get up at 6 in the morning to do my makeup every day, because this is a light spot in this sometimes dark world that is working a 9 to 5. Especially a work from home 9 to 5, although I will say I definitely prefer working from home in many ways. Not all, but many. This eye is the troublesome eye because this winter my whole body has just been like sucked of moisture, and my eyelids get super dry. It's so irritating. So like the skin on my eyelids is kind of like dry and a little bit crepey. So if shadow can work well over my eyelid skin, you kind of know it's a good shadow. And I mean, you just saw that go on, so I'm not gonna say anything about it. Okay, so they really do blend really well and build really well. Like, I'm not gonna deny that in any way. Okay, so I'm going to hop off camera, do a half cut crease, and then be back, and we can put some metallic shades on together. Okie dokie. So I've cut my crease, I've got them as even as I can. Now quickly I'm just going to take the shade Rush, which is that mid-toned blue, run this over the front of my crease as I'm running it through my entire crease. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Rush and stamp this on my lid just to help kind of blend it all. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Linger, so that really dark blue, very lightly darken my crease with that, and then darken my outer corners. Now for shimmers. So first okay, so what I'm gonna do is take the shade Limitless, which is this green, and then take Underneath. So I'm gonna take Limitless on the middle of my eye and Underneath in the front part. And that's what we're gonna do. First though, I'm going to take some NYX glitter primer and put this on my lid. Okay, so now going into Limitless, I'm putting that putting that in the center. And then taking the shade Underneath. I almost feel like these are a little bit difficult to pick up on the brush and then transfer them to the eye. Like, they definitely don't feel as like, they're creamy, so they're a little bit difficult to pick up, and they don't look as like metallic on the lid as they do in the pan. I have a suspicion that they're gonna work way better with fingers, but that's just kind of my experience right now. And then I'm just gonna go back and forth between Underneath and Limitless, just to blend them together. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye. The metallics, I just find that they were difficult to pick up with the brush, which is weird because I feel like if anything, the NYX glitter primer really helps anything pick up because it's like a fucking glue that picks pigment up. Anyway, we'll see. So I'm just gonna take a little bit more of the shade Rush and just blend it into just a little bit into the shade Limitless. Then I'm gonna take the shade Chemistry, the neon green, and run this over the edge just to bring that really like bright green back a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm going to take the shade Limitless and the shade Underneath on my fingers because they look like really nice and shiny on my fingers. I'm going to intensify them on my lid here. Yeah, so definitely, can you see the difference between my two eyes? Definitely fingers, they're really creamy. They feel very similar to like Beauty Bay metallics. So I would say fingers is the way for sure. Maybe they'll work better on like a brush that you spray as opposed to using a glitter glue. But unfortunately, it's not like my most favorite ever metallic formula. But the mattes are beautiful. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just not, like, the swatches look amazing. I just find them a little bit difficult to pick up with the brush. And then lastly, I'm going to take the shade White Hot, this matte white, and use this as a brow bone highlight. I think I'm just gonna keep it all monochromatic blue and green because that's what I love. So I'm going to take the shade Rush again and run that all underneath my eyes. And then I'm going to deepen my lower lash line with the shade Linger. And then I'm going to take Chemistry and blend everything out. Now mattes, honestly, can't imagine mattes performing better. Beautiful. I'm gonna take the shade Underneath, so that blue on my pinky, and just put that, yeah, it definitely performs much better directly with a finger, which I don't prefer, like, to do that initially. I like to use a brush, but I mean, so far that seems to be the ideal way to use these. Now I'm going to take the shade Flash, which is this like pinky shade, this pinky champagne-y shade. I'm going to put this in my inner corner, so I'm gonna pick this up first with a brush. Even on a, yeah, it's not really picking up on this either. Then I'm gonna spray it. This is just with a little bit of water, and then I'm gonna put this on my inner corner. So we'll use this wet and see how it goes. Yeah, same thing. I mean, it's just like you need a brush with a little bit more texture. I think it's honestly kind of just moving around in the pan. But that's why they swatch so nicely, because they're so like literally creamy. This actually a wet brush might actually be better, it seems like, because this is going on actually nicely compared to how it went on with the glitter glue. Although I will say that this shade does seem more like glitzy, sparkly compared to both the Limitless and Underneath shade, but I feel like a wet brush might be the way to go, just based on the way that this shade is performing wet, as opposed to a glitter glue. But then finally, I'm going to take the shade Vinyl, which is this matte black, of course. And I'm gonna take this and use this to deepen my outer corners. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna leave it. That was a beautiful, beautiful matte black, by the way. I did intensify a little bit more of the shimmers on my lid with my pinky. Definitely fingers are number one. You gotta kind of get your hands in there and make the shadows messed up a little bit, and then they look nice. But it was a learning curve to get here for sure. So I'm just gonna finish up my face, put some blush on, lips, you know, finish everything up, and then I'll be back to give my first impressions thoughts on this palette. All right, concluding this video, this is the finished look. I will leave everything that I used in the description box. I just, you know, obviously finished up my face, put some random lashes on, put some black in my waterline. On my lips, I have the NYX lip liner in Espresso. I blended it out with the Nude Suede Matte lip liner in the shade Sandstorm. And I have the Rimmel Stay Matte Liquid Lip Color in the shade Raw Embrace in the center of my lips. It looks blended in person, but then I always get on camera and it doesn't look blended. So apologies if I have a strong lip liner on today. My initial thoughts on this palette. I think the hype is deserved for the mattes. Beautiful. Like I said before, I can't really imagine mattes working better. Like they blend beautifully, they build. Like they're really, really beautiful. Obviously, I've only used a handful of them, so I can only speak to those ones, but I imagine they're similar. I will definitely do a 3 looks 1 palette with this, so stay tuned for that. The shimmers are actually nice. I don't think that's like necessarily the selling point of this palette. I think they swatch beautifully. I think they're a little bit finicky to work with, but based on my experience thus far, I would say I would recommend using a wet brush, like spraying your brush and then using your fingers, because I feel like you can see my lower lash line here and also my inner corners. It applied much more brightly and intense. Oh, I'm getting a work call. Just to wrap up before I start work, I mean the shimmers are, what was I saying? The shimmers apply nicely when you use them with the finger, but I do find because they are quite putty-like, think if you've tried the Beauty Bay shimmer formula, very much like that, although I do find them not quite maybe as textured sometimes. They're just like very, very creamy, so sometimes it just doesn't pick up on the brush bristles, but I did find more success using like a brush that I sprayed versus glitter glue. Although, which is interesting because usually I find glitter glue helps pick up shadows that are a little bit more difficult to pick up. But that's just what I've noticed. So I will definitely keep everyone updated on how I get along. But once you get the shimmers on, they're really pretty. They're just like a little bit more finicky to use. But I mean, ultimately the star of the show for me is the mattes, and I can 100% say with confidence that anytime I need a dark matte, like this is going to be the first palette that I think of. And it's so nice to have that row of mattes, so I don't have to like think of what palette do I have a dark cranberry, what palette do I have a good dark purple or a good dark blue. Like I know I can reach for this palette, and in pretty much every color way I have either a transitional shade, a deepening shade, a black, like amazing. So I feel for that reason Blend Bunny sees me and I see Blend Bunny, and I cannot wait to use this more. So those are my thoughts. Let me know if you've tried this brand and how you like them. Especially let me know how you get on with the shimmers. Maybe there's a special way that you use them and they're amazing right at the gate. I would love to know that. Thank you so much for watching this emergency review, you guys. And I would love to see you in my next video. Bye!